Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Do you feel like you have too many processes, background processes running on your computer? Well, you might have over 100 and then I can definitely say yes. For instance, have you disabled Cortana and you still see it here in the background processes? Or does your Nvidia have 11 processes running? And so on. I will try to quickly show you a few tips how you can make things a little easier in here and get down to at least 50. That's where I am now. There is, of course, certain things you don't want to take away. Um, and I suggest that you do these things in steps and try out your computer maybe a day or a little so you don't have to undo everything you have done and go back, right? So the most obvious I would want to start with is right click your Windows and go to settings and go to your privacy settings. Um, you want to basically almost disable everything in here. In general, I can go through here so you can just see and pause and see the settings I'm using. I'm not gonna put too much into this. This is more or less common knowledge, but at least go through the app permissions and the general. For instance, if you don't use Cortana, you don't need speech, or if you don't use speech to text, uh, inking, typing, disable here. Diagnostic and feedback, I have set that to basic. Everything else is off. I last deleted my diagnostic data today. There was nothing to delete because I had done it before, but I cannot go through this in between. Activity history, location, stuff like that. Couple of things you should watch out for, and that is when you're in camera and when you're in microphone, because this is where you'll probably notice that, oh, this needs to be on. So allow apps access to microphone, definitely. Allow apps access to your camera. That's your choice. I have it off. It still works when I run my Logitech. I don't have it plugged in now, so but it still works even when this is off. So but you might run into hiccups on stuff there. Voice activation, I don't have that. Notifications is off. Account info off. Contacts off. Calendar I have on. The reason for this is because I put in notifications, tasks and such there. Phone calls off. Call history off. Emails off. And even though I have emails off, my Outlook works great. I have Office on this computer. And if you use Outlook in your browser, no problem, you'll use it there. So this is for other stuff like linking it to the calendar. It will be a lot of synchronizing going on, in other words. Tasks allow apps to get into my task. No messaging. Radios off. Other devices off. Background apps I have on, but I've checked off a lot on this list. So app diagnostic is off. So that was quickly that. Now another thing that I think most people would think is reasonable is turning off the Explorer. I use Chrome to browse, so I do not need my Explorer 11 going. What you do is you go into apps and features in settings. In there you have programs and features. And in programs and features you have a tab called Turn Windows Features On Off. Now if you open this window you have a lot of checkboxes here. I suggest you go through and look what you have. For instance, you can go in here and you can uncheck Windows Media Player. If you use another media player, you wouldn't need Windows Media Player to run. I use Windows Media Player. I have unchecked a couple of here. Somewhere in print and document services. Windows fax and scan. No need for that. And of course the Internet Explorer unchecked. So you just uncheck it, press yes, and it's gone. You can always check it again and it will be back. So go through here. Have a look here. Turn Windows Features on off. Right click your Windows icon. Go to Apps and Features. Programs and Features. Turn Windows Features on off. I turned off Windows PowerShell 2.0. The reason for that is because PowerShell is running a later version now. Let's see if it's anything else I want to mention in here that is obvious. I think the tutorial I saw, the guy checked off Microsoft Print to PDF. I use a lot of PDFs, so I didn't uncheck that. Yeah. That's the Windows features. That will clear a lot. Now Cortana. Might have been in settings. You've been on Cortana. Didn't that have on? Thought that had yes, it has on. So you see there is no processes going on there. So to get rid of Cortana completely, you go to your search bar. You press GP, edit. Edit group policy control panel. In here, you go to local computer, administrative templates. In administrative templates, you go to Windows components. In Windows components, you go to search. And here you see a lot where Cortana has its name on. Allow cloud search. Allow search and Cortana to search cloud sources like OneDrive and SharePoint. I disabled that. And so far, haven't noticed anything about that. Allow Cortana disabled. Cortana above lock screen disabled. And I would recommend to go through this list and see what's here. Description is on the side, so you can know what everything is. Now the last thing I would want to go through, I think that's it anyway, is services. Type services in a search box. Services app. The window doesn't look like this normally, because I've stretched it out to get the description. I'll go through a couple of the ones I've disabled here. A join router service. That's a client that allows Linux devices to link to your computer, like motion sensors, all kind of Linux stuff, like switches for lights and if all kinds of smart home things, So if you're not using your computer for smart home stuff, no need for that. I recommend you go, at least you can see the description, like Apple Charger Service for Apple mobile device charging service. I don't know what that does, but not anything for me. I use Android anyway. But it doesn't hurt to take a Google search if you're uncertain about things there. There is a lot of things you can disable depending on how you use your computer. There is some things that is disabled by default. I went quickly through. Bluetooth audio, if you don't have a Bluetooth dongle or something connected to it, go to properties, disabled, apply, okay. And I will do this on all the Bluetooths because I don't have a Bluetooth. Notice that come up, but still it got disabled on an earlier instance. I'm curious now if I reopen Task Manager if that did anything. 49. Yeah, I think actually that took away one there. I think there was a couple of them that I wanted to mention. My head just goes out of it when I start going through this list because it was so much. Downloaded maps manager. If you don't use maps, Windows service for application access to downloaded maps. Never have used it. Never will use it. The first thing I would go through is I would click the running. Click the ones that's running and see what that is. I got rid of a lot of them that I found out that it was no use to have here. But still I disabled things that was also not running. Like the Xbox. I don't use Xbox, so I disabled anything with Xbox here. And that is just to be sure that there is no like dormant, not even a background process, but a background process inside another background process, right? So there's no dormant ways for making my computer slow. I'm not gonna talk too much about this. It will just be boring for you. But at least go through the list. Windows Biometric Service, for instance. This is the one that uses the fingerprint and the face recognition. So if you don't use the face recognition or fingerprint on your computer, I don't think most people do actually. If you have a Windows phone, I understand it, but Windows, it's a multi-platform, multi-device platform. So it has a lot of stuff that is, some is for the phone, and the, what do you call it? The pads they have, and Surface, the Windows Surface, and all this. So it has a lot of unnecessary stuff. So go through this list. If you don't use Teams, disable it. Telephony. If you don't use your computer to call around, if you run the call center, okay. But I mean, so much in here that you can go through. So I hope this helped a little. It will at least make the Nvidia. It will at least make your computer run a little faster. So the last thing is the Nvidia. And you might wonder why it has 11 processes running. I have 2 now. And the reason is the Nvidia Experience. Nvidia G4 Experience, I think it's called. Nvidia, it's I think they're trying to push advertisement for games and stuff in your face. It seems as you have to download the Nvidia Experience to download the latest update for your graphics card. And this isn't entirely true, I believe. But if you're unsure that you are getting the latest Nvidia driver, I would recommend to install experience, update the driver, and then uninstall experience again. If you're using the experience to record your game or whatever, be my guest. I don't do that, but I know some people do. But you can always go right click your Windows. You can always go to your device manager. And in your device manager, you can go to display adapters. You have your Nvidia. And you can just press update driver. Search automatically for updated drivers. And that should keep it up to date in my mind. But I have to admit I have used the experience to install a driver not too long ago. So who knows? So that was it, and I think I've gone through everything that I wanted to mention for clearing up some processes and getting things running a little smoother. So let's see here what I have. Windows processes 85. There's still a lot that I want to get rid of. I don't know what all is necessary. Still, there's, service hosts. Incredible many. But I think I've cleared out a lot of the important ones. Background processes is 51 now. And I was earlier today at, I think, 96. Something around there. I can't really remember. It was a lot higher anyway. So have a look through. Another thing is, of course, going into your settings and your apps and going through all your apps and see, am I really using this? If it's something you don't understand, what is this? Give it a search, dig a little into it. There is a lot of stuff you don't need in there. The Nvidia experience I uninstalled today, and I went, as I said, from 11 processes down to 2. So I think that will do a lot for my gaming experience. I think it interferes a lot and gives you stutter. So have a look. If you can uninstall it if you're not using it, right? The less things running on your computer, the smoother it will be. Good luck on that one, guys. Have a good one. Just a quick add-on here, guys, was something I forgot to mention. I just went into Adobe Creative Cloud to start editing this video, and I looked in processes, and then suddenly I had a whole bunch of more processes running. So I went from 51 to 69. Or before I started the screen recorder, it showed 65. And I guess without the screen recorder running, it was on 49 total processes running. But always go into startup and disable most programs that you don't use on like a daily basis or all the time. This will also help you a lot. I guess most people knows this, but I just thought I would add that. Um, some programs doesn't come up in this startup list for some reason, but if they don't, they normally come down here on the taskbar. If you show the hidden icons, and you can open the program there and find the settings icon in whatever program it is, and they normally have a launch at the login option to click. There are also programs going around this, and then you have to dig a little deeper. And for me, it has been so few that those few who goes around that, I just go in here and exit by right clicking down on the hidden icon menu. So a little add-on there. If you like videos like this, please like and subscribe so I can put out more. Hopefully you learned something today anyway. Have a good one, guys.